in the cloud. I'm going to record. All right, so everybody probably just heard the thing say recording in progress. Yes, I think so. Okay, cool. All right, Grant, you will probably sympathize with what it is that I'm proposing here. So every time a lot of the improvements of our robot have been like an nth generation. So we have kind of a climber 4 years ago that was climbing the stair. It was like, didn't work very well. The next year we had a climber where we had two things that were climbing a balancing bar. It worked well, but it was pretty fragile. Last year we had kind of a next generation of it, and I think it worked pretty well, but it can be better still. And I'm going to start showing you one of the things that I think are less than, well, they're a step towards doing some other things that I think we'll want to do. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so here we go, sharing my screen and going to here. All right, so this is our robot from the summer robot, but it has the same climber on it from wherever. So I'm just actually, so this is actually a very good way for people to realize, like, how do you navigate a document? So I'm going to close my other documents that I've already opened prior to this meeting. So so this is our the summer robot that we will be competing with in 2 Saturdays. Is that true?
3 Saturdays. There's 2 more build Saturdays before then.
2 more build Saturdays. Okay, phew, because that was going to be bad if it was just that. So I need to, why is it taking so long to load up? So actually one of the nice things is even before it's fully functional, you can sometimes like spin it and stuff. So see, it's still thinking, but I can still function it. And what I want to do is I'm like, hey, I want to start working on the thing that has this assembly. So can you see how when I highlighted that over on the model tree, it highlighted a thing in blue? And I didn't, because this is an assembly, I can see this is the whole assembly. It didn't, I can see like which particular part is I can just keep following the blue to get down to it. What I'm, I can keep opening what, sorry, this thing is still thinking like a madman. So it's acting slower than it should. But if I keep going down, oh, this is the part. So I'll click in space here. I click in space and it should turn off everything. So when I say click in space, I mean just like get away from the robot and click on nothing, and you see like everything disappeared. And it was the left climber, is that right? It was this one. So I'm going to left chain tensioner, left pivot plate. No, it was the so it's giving me
L spine tube.
L spine tube. All right, where did that guy go? L pivot tube. Oh well, you know what? I can find it again now that I've got it open.
You went too far down.
It was way up here. Yeah. All right. So L spine tube is also an assembly. And oh no, that's just I brought in. It isn't an assembly. When I brought this part in order to get it in the right spot, I needed to actually bring in a mate connector, which I'm not going to. That's pretty advanced stuff. But anyway, I'm just saying you can go back and forth. Like I can either select something on the model tree, or I can select something in here. But really, what I really wanted to do was I wanted to find the assembly this thing was in. So now I can click. I'm going to click in space. So I'm clicking nothing, and I can right click. I see it turns blue. And if I right click on it, I can now open that linked document. So now I'm going to bring the entire assembly open. You can, this is you could go and search for where is it if I were to go into the Onshape, if I were to go to click on this guy here, I can open that in a new tab while it's thinking. You know, on shape, I could go and try and find where that is, but you know what? We're working on the summer robot, and I happen to know that it actually is part of our rapid react robot. But how would you know that if you're coming in new? Well, the way you're going to know that is you can find a part that you're interested in, and in actual fact, the part I'm really interested in is not this part, this whole assembly. It's really this part right here. I want to start looking at that part right there. But I could just click on it here and do the exact same trick I did before, which is find it over in this guy, right click on it and say open. This is one of these cases. I'm in the wrong mode. I've got to get out of this, click in space. Then if I go over and I grab it again, spool, where is that spool? Where did it go? Climber. Oh, it's part of an assembly yet again. Sorry. If I really want that spool. Where is it? Click on it here. There it is. It's the spool down here. So if I right click on spool, I can now open it. Open linked document right there. But I could have just done it directly from this one if I wanted to. I could click on this guy, find it again, same way, right click on it, open linked document. Okay, so now we're going to have this linked document open. What I wanted to talk the people through is the problem. Okay, the problem is in order to tighten up this, well, the bigger problem is we have on this robot, we have basically 4 drums for 4 climbers, and we have to synchronize the 2 sets of drums. We have to synchronize the outer and the inner drums, and in order to synchronize those, we have these chains that go across. And I'm looking at this and I'm realizing that this is actually the failed chain tensioners. If you look, it doesn't look like this. If you look at the real robot, it doesn't look like this anymore. So this CAD is kind of old, but this chain tensioner that we had was just not working. So we ended up inventing, at a competition, a thing that actually worked. But in any case, it's been a sore point forever, is that this shaft and this shaft have to be synced, and this shaft have to be synced. And the notional idea was, well, what if we just had one drum, and instead of doing the sync with chain, we had a drum that was maybe stationed back here, and it would and then we could route the cable. Instead of going straight down over here, we could go over to the side and then go over to here and then go on to one drum. So that's the long game. But in the short game, I just want to make the tensioning of this simpler. So now I'm going to go into the assembly that has this in it. So the way this works right now is we've got, do I have it in the assembly? So this is the place where we create the parts. I'm in the design studio here. And where is the assembly for this? Grant, do you know is it in the home? I think it's in the home. It's in the climber. So I think I don't assemble this until I get to the climber. So blah, 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 it's thinking. What I'd like to do live is I'd like to take such a laggy system. I'd like to take these, the way we currently do the phasing to tighten the string is we have this thing moves, but then the climber, these pieces here, if I can hide that, they have, we suck the string into them, and we can wind in on this inner roll. We can wind in the string, and we have another one on the other side. And so that's how we suck the string into this particular drum. And it's nice, but I was thinking it could be nicer, and it would be even nicer still if we had a way of being able to have 4 4 strings, because if I'm gonna have a common drum, I'm gonna need to have 4 strings coming in to here, and we have to be able to tighten all 4 of them. And so the idea that I would like to CAD live, and eventually, as soon as I explain what we're doing, I will give up and I will let another person CAD. So we're going to spool and winder. And I believe there should have been, I opened this earlier today and I imported some parts. Maybe I didn't import the parts into here. I thought I did. Well, it doesn't matter. We can import them again. But notionally, what I was thinking we could do is we could imagine a wrench like this guy here. Imagine like the head of this wrench here. That we would take and instead of winding the string around a drum this way, we'd make like a little drum here that we could just have a ratchet like that the head of that ratchet that I just showed there. And we could wind around just a little like a 3/8 inch hex shaft. And then when we wanted to wind in, we'd switch the head of this guy here. You know, we'd switch it because this is a reversible hex. You could, well, this particular one I've shown isn't, but there are versions that are reversible. So anyway, we take one of these reversible heads, and then you'd flip the ratchet, and then you could suck in the string, and then it would just stay there because the ratchet, and if you ever needed string to come out, you could flip the ratchet to the other side. So that is the idea, and I just don't know how. Oh, I know why this is why. All right, I was like, I know I did some work here, but it's not showing up, and I didn't know why it wasn't showing up. And the reason is I'm in a particular version. You see it says it's read only. This thing is read only. But if I were to go to the main line here, I'm going to click on the main line. And bada bing, bada boom, here is a ratchet, right? So what I'm thinking we could do, so imagine if you cut off this head here and just held this part, then we could put, we could be sucking string into, say, a 3/4 inch ratchet. And then when we want to let it out, we would flip this lever in there. So, and you can kind of imagine that we could get 4 of them around, you know, maybe you have 2 of them on one side and 2 of them on the other side. So you could keep the idea that, you know, for sucking the robot climb strings in on one, and you could have raise the robot strings on the other side. So what I'd like to try to do is to start CADing, like, all right, well, let's start adding these things. I think we ought to, well, I don't know, Grant, are you still here?
Yep.
All right, so do you understand the outline of what I'm proposing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so imagine we just all we have to do is just have a hex shaft going between here. On one side, we'd hold it with a ratchet, and on the other side, we would just have it in a round hole, and we would suck in string, and we would wind it around here. You could, I mean, the hex could hang out the end, and you'd get just a little wrench, and you'd tighten it up or loosen it based on which way you're going.
Oh,
So
and that's how you tighten it.
That's
on
how you
on the inner spools
That's
for
right,
the
on the inner spools. So the inner spools become smaller, but they're just so much simpler to do. So, and then where before we have a bigger thing and you wind it on these castles, instead of winding on the castles, you'd be winding on a hex shaft here. So anyway, my question for you is, you have as much stake in this particular design as I do. And so before I just started like whacking and slashing on this particular CAD, I wanted to get your thinking about, like, should we make a new version and import this, or should we just start working on this on the main line for this one?
I mean, are we ever going to go back to this current design? Or, I
So-
mean, if we're gonna be making like the larger four spool thing, we should probably branch off and do it somewhere else. But if we're,
Okay,
I don't know, if we
Yes.
wanted to turn this into that same idea, then maybe not.
so part of me would like to do this into that idea so we could test it out. You know, so we could just say like, well, what terrible things happened to us if we actually tried to do this? Because it would be pretty easy if I were to, you know, because we only need this long hex here. You know, this long threaded part here. We don't need, you know, if on the other side, we don't need it. We could have the two hexes coming in without really worrying about yeah, anyway, we could get two of them in, I think, pretty easily without really, you know, on this side. I mean, I'd leave the long side here because that one would be the side we'd need to move it on. But then I think we could just put two of them on the side and have the anyway, that's my thought. But why don't we begin trying it, and then we can, if it turns out to be a terrible idea, we can revert back, and we can always recover. So okay, so my thinking is that we want to get somebody else to drive. And where is the cover for this guy? Is it actually hidden, or is it dude, how did we get the other side of this guy? Do we just make
It's
two of them?
a, it's a
Oh,
configuration.
it's a configuration. Ah, okay. All right, so I think what maybe we could do is, why don't we just make a copy of this part here, move it over to here, and then just start hacking and slashing on that body, because it won't be one of the bodies that we have a thing for. So okay, so let's get somebody else to drive. Who wants to drive? Do you want to have an advanced person or a new person? If a new person is willing to try it, I'm definitely willing to let them drive. Going once, going twice. I'm not hearing anybody. Silver, you want to try and drive?
Hey, I can try. I'm just not 100% sure on like where you want me to take it. I'm gonna basically, you're gonna be the arms and legs, and I'm going to be the one like saying, let's do this feature. And while you're doing it, I will sort of like show it to the rest of the people of what we're doing. So, all right, so why don't you, I'm gonna stop sharing and you can start sharing. And how do I stop sharing here? Hang on a minute. I don't remember how to get to the stop sharing bit. Oh, I'm in annotate. That's why. Turn off my annotations and go to here. Stop sharing. Okay. All right. So Silver, why don't you start sharing and open up that particular CAD file, the CAD file for the climber. All right.
I can send. I'll put the link to it directly if you have trouble getting to it.
Yeah,
can,
I'd like the link.
let me put the link. Hang on a minute. I have to hit escape here and go to. Sorry, I'm still not in the right place. Copy. It. All right, there. It's in the chat. It's in the chat.
Thank you.
So we're in the part studio now, and what the first thing I'd like to do is just get a copy of this. We only have one cap on this thing, so I'd like to get a copy of it, and I'd like to put it on the other side where the wrench is. So in order to do the copy, you basically need to hang on a minute. I have to get out of chat so I can be able to see big enough. So, and then I have to get my annotate on. So we're gonna use the copy move feature, this guy. Okay. So, and then you have to decide what are we trying to do, right? And we want to, no, that was the transform. Yes. But choose down the copy in place and get rid of copy in place. And we're going to say translate by make connector. Okay, and then we want to choose the button here that says make a copy of the part, because we want to leave the old part behind. All right, so the part we want to choose is we want to choose that left cap. We want to choose this guy right here. So hang on, I'm going to clear all my drawings. So you got the tensioner, that's right. And now we need to say the from make connector. So the from make connector is going to be a little bit tricky, because what we want to do is we want to get the, there's like a part that we can't quite see, right? So we need to, the two should be this edge. Choose this edge right here. The edge that's that arc. Yeah, that's right, exactly. So that's the arc we want. Just zoom in and make sure that you've selected the right one. So click up here and get rid of it. And then when you touch it, make sure it's not that edge. We want this edge. Yes, that's the one. Okay, so that's the make connector for that. Now go back up and choose the from connector. Okay, and let's make that other one disappear. So go down to the spool here and make it be invisible. Just click down here on the model tree. Or actually, you could hit Y if you wanted to. Hit Y. Select it and then hit Y, I think. Isn't that true?
It wasn't
Okay.
working, so I just hit.
It doesn't work when you have like a prompt up for some reason.
Ah, okay.
Better.
All right. So now you want to zoom in and you want to get the right edge that you want to be mated with. So nope, not that one. Not that one. We want it to be zoom from the opposite side, the opposite edge. Flip around. So we want this, hold still. We want that edge right there. That's the one, exactly, right? Okay. Yep, that's good. All right. And then I'm going to clear all of my rubbish here. And then let's turn that guy back on. Okay, so now it's back on. And if you saw it just, well, wait a minute, it kind of put it in the right spot, but not quite. So why don't we try flipping the arrow? Boom. Ah, all right. I think that's good. Let's click OK. All right, so there we go. So that basically, we just showed everyone how to make a copy of a part. If you look, we now have a new body under our parts, a new part, right? And we should name this, what do we want to call it? We want to call it wrench ratchet or something like that. Wrench tensioner. Why don't we call it wrench tensioner? So now let's actually get rid of all the other stuff, because we don't really, now that we have it in the right spot, I don't really want to see anything except for maybe the wrench. And even that I really don't want right now, because now we're going to do what I call just hack and slash CAD, because we're just going to basically fill in all the bits that we don't really want of this part, right? So let's make everything disappear except for that part. One way you can do is if you were to right click on this one, right click, you could say make all bodies but this one disappear. Hide all other parts. Yes, you chose isolate. I don't like isolate when I'm really going to do, if I don't need to see the other parts at all, I just make them all go away. Okay. All right. So this is kind of the part that I want on this. The parts that we want on this are basically, we want to have a block that we don't really want any of these features. I got to get my annotate back on. We don't really want any of these. Sorry. we want like a solid block to sort of like just start, to start from. So what I think I'd like to do is to just take, and give me a side view of it. So, well, the parts that we definitely need these teeth that go in, but we don't need any of the bits. Again, we don't need any of these parts over here, and we don't need any of these parts over here. So what I think we should probably do is let's just get rid of everything on the far side by doing an extrude. So why don't we select the surface? Yeah, let's just select the surface, that surface there, and we're just going to make a big extrude that's going to get rid of everything that we don't want. So so what I would suggest is, so you've chosen, hang on, you've chosen to do let's do a sketch first of all. So get out of extrude, do a sketch, and do this, like highlight that. I would highlight this surface here, and let's sketch on that surface. Okay. So we're in sketch mode. So then just draw a circle, right? Good. Start at this center there, right? And then just drag it out until it's tangent to the insides of those teeth.
If you want to be normal to the face, press N, and then that'll make the origin appear where it should be. There you go.
Good. So then just drag it out, and then just have it be touching those teeth. Yep. You can either get it to assume it as you drag it out. It can either assume it, or do you see, like if you touch one of the tangent, yeah, there. See how if it showed you that little thing, like it assumed it, and it went black right away. Like just draw a circle right now and don't have it touch that. You see how it's blue, right? That blue says, I don't know what, that thing isn't fully defined, but because he gave it a center point where he dragged the center to begin with, and he dragged it right out until he touched the key point here, it was already perfectly defined. You didn't need to do anything else. So hit Control Z and make that guy go away. Actually, so there, we're good. Now we've got that. Now we can choose the extrude, and we're going to choose remove. When we do this, choose remove, and we're going to, yep, just we can, I usually choose through all when I'm doing that. So, and flip it around to the other side. We're removing wrench. Oh, you're choosing, yeah, wrench tensioner. Everything looks good. How come it isn't disappearing?
Yeah, don't click symmetric. Just click the little arrow.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Well, that just makes one side or another go away.
So flip the.
I hit
okay,
symmetric so that everything goes away.
I don't want everything to go away. We're just slicing this particular part of it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So then click on this icon here. The yep, that's the one. Right. Okay, so there. Now that's good. We don't know exactly what all the text is, so I think the next thing that will just like make us have a brick would be to use that exact same surface you had before, right? And sketch a new sketch on that exact same surface. Yep, sketch a new sketch, and then pick the use icon, which is this here icon. Yep, and then just pick this. Yeah, pick that face, or pick the. If you pick the face, it always picks the outside of the face. So if you pick the face, or you could pick this edge, it's up to you. All right, and then we've done it. Click OK, and then let's extrude, and we're going to extrude that up to face. So instead of blind, up to face, and the face we're going to choose is this other face here. The face. Shoot, for some reason this zoom is falling out of the. Maybe it's just my nervousness of I'm driving. I feel like I'm driving CAD, and that's what it's doing. In my mind, I'm actually, yeah, driving CAD.
Make sure you click solid, not surface. I think there might be something wrong with the sketch, but we'll see if it works. Yeah, something's weird.
Let's did we choose the sketch yet? We didn't choose the face here.
Oh,
Pick that and then you can pick the sketch here. If you pick it on the model tree, life is generally better because then it like picks the whole sketch. And then we're gonna go through to face, and the face should be all the way to the far side of I would go all the way to this face here when you're gonna do it.
Just a little bit angry.
just click merge scope. And then the part.
Yep, and then we
Oh.
haven't told it. Yep, and we're choosing add, and it's good. And we click OK. All right, so that, and then it's like, damn it, you know what? I forgot that I needed to have the hole here, right? So let's go back and edit the sketch. So right click, edit the sketch, and let's use that one as well. Choose the use icon, put that one in, clear. All right, good, nice. All right, so that feels like a perfectly good part
Got rid of the
to start.
thread.
Yeah, that's fine, because we don't know where the thread's gonna go yet, right? We don't even know if we want a thread going through there, right? So what we're gonna try to do now is, so now let's bring the wrench in and see like, what would we do with, how can we make a hole that's gonna hold that wrench? So actually, can we undo the other two parts and just see what they look like? Put the spool back on. Yeah, okay. So yeah, what we need to do, basically, that seems good. So what we need to do is kind of like make a hole that's gonna hold the wrench in that
Are we
place. So
gonna be
what
cutting this wrench?
Hmm?
So is this wrench just gonna be permanently stuck in the robot?
the wrench is gonna be permanently stuck in the robot, that's right. I mean, we'll cut off the handle. In fact, we should probably do that. Why don't we cut off the handle of the wrench?
Okay,
So,
that's what I wasn't
Yep.
sure about. Like,
okay, so let's turn the spool back off, and let's grab the wrench and just make it into something that feels more like, so maybe we can isolate that, or we can turn off our, right click and just blanket. Yeah. So a good place to turn this, we need access to this guy. So I think it feels good to like cut it somewhere about there. So who has an idea for how we could possibly, what tool would we do? What would be the steps? Noah, why don't you tell us what are the steps in order to like just hack and slash and cut this off? What should we do first?
Just like make a sketch around.
Okay,
like, where you
what would
want
be
to
a good
cut.
surface to make a sketch on?
Probably that flat surface after the.
Like this one,
Okay.
or you want this one, or yeah, any of those could work, right? Okay, all right. So, okay, why don't you keep telling me what to do then? So Noah, Silver, you're gonna drive, but Noah's gonna say what to do. So, okay, so what, you should do a sketch on what surface? You can annotate also if you wanted to. Everyone in the Zoom meeting can actually annotate. We can all just draw all over. Okay, so what should he do?
I gotta unmute Noah.
So Grant or Brad, or Ben, we're gonna need actually, I don't know which hex this is, by the way. Is this the 3/8 hex, or is this the
the wrench, I
Uh,
believe, is a half inch, or the wrench, it looks like 3/8 hex, but the actual axle is a half-inch hex.
yes. But we're gonna use, our spools are gonna be 3/8 hex. So let's can somebody make me a somebody who's not Silver and not Noah. Can you make me a Thunder hex 3/8? I think you can go get it from the MK CAD, but you'll need to you'll need to export it because you can't bring, I need to, or can I? Can you bring from an MKCAD part in from an assembly? Is that true or not?
They added
People
a
who-
part studio option, right?
Is it possible in a part studio? Oh, all right. So somebody who knows how to do this, somebody walk Silver, if you know how to do it, just annotate what you're, just tell us what you're doing.
So I just have to, so it's an extension that you install from the App Store in Onshape. So it gives you this little button that you can click that slides out this whole thing. And then you have a list of various things you can click on. So you tend to want to go to, for our case, we want the shaft configurable and then click Vex, Hex, or Thunder Hex, because that's what we want. And then we can choose the length and the hex size. So we want 3/8 Thunder Hex. Is that
Yep,
correct?
3/8. Yep, 3/8 Thunder Hex. And why don't you make it 3 inches long? Because why not?
Alrighty, 3 inches. And I can click insert. And all of a sudden, we will have a lovely little Thunder Hex shaft right there. And just like that.
Okay, so
It's
why
there,
don't
it
you
exists.
move the part? Do you know how to move the part? Why don't you move it so that it's like sticking about it? It's sticking through this shaft. Whoa, sorry.
Yep.
It's sticking through that shaft. So you got to narrate what you're doing as you're doing it. So why don't
I'm
you
gonna
get rid of the
transform.
MKCAD because that's too much.
Yeah.
The screen's too small.
I'm gonna hit
Okay.
transform by
Okay.
mate connectors, and I'll select this mate connector. I'll select this mate connector, and then select, let's go with this one, and that'll kind of toss the,
You need to select the part. You've selected the make connector that comes with the part. There you go.
so that'll just toss that right in there. So it looks like the wrench actually isn't 3/8.
Okay, so why don't we can you actually open before, just to check? I had two parts. There are two parts here and here. Can you open the other part? Because I might have just given you the wrong part. So
I'm gonna just check the dimension by selecting this line and this line. No, and this line.
yeah, but I don't know what the right number is per point to go through.
It should be 0.375.
No, that it's 0.375 is the flats, not the point to point. That's the problem.
Oh, well, this one appears to be too small then, because that's smaller than 375.
So then you look at the other one. What does this one say? This one's even smaller still.
Let's find out. This one is larger.
Okay, so why don't we find out which one this is? This is
believe if I just
19,
select
right?
this
It's
point,
19,
this point.
7, the last 4 digits of 19.
Yeah,
If you go back
the,
into the other assembly,
the
you can
point
see,
to point is or the flat to flat is 375. So that's 5666A719 stubby.
okay, so I think we should just replace this guy. I think you can right click on him and I think you can replace it.
The
Okay.
719 is the correct one to use. Just confirming it.
Is there a way of replacing a part in a, I know there isn't an assembly, there's a way of replacing the part.
There we go.
Okay, cool. All right, so now,
Oh, kind of broke
but
it a little bit, but
we
can
broke
fix
our,
that.
yeah, now the two transforms didn't work because we don't have the right, yeah, we're gonna have to move the wrench to where we want it to be anyway. So why don't we do that? Why don't we go back, roll the model tree back to to the, yeah, just the derived part. And then go to, just show us where we are in 3D space. So you're gonna have to like put the spool back on. So now, so the problem that what I'd like to do is we'd like to get, you know, this, we'd like to get it in the plane of we'd like to get the planes lined up. So the way to do that is with a transform. So if you go down, just go one model down, you'll see there's a transform, one place on the model tree, and that moved it to the right spot, right? So it moved it from here to here, and we've got, oh, there's no make connectors? Or you just added, no, don't do this.
I'm just
Don't,
looking so that I
yeah,
can
don't-
put
just-
it back after I switch it out.
Yeah, just move the model tree down one. If you, did it move? Hang on a minute. Did you add? Yeah, so it just added. So the
This is
first
the
one,
old wrench. Silver
Oh.
undid the replacement.
oh, okay, I see. All right, so you know, there's no harm in just like putting the old wrench in addition to the new wrench, right? Why not just go and grab that one, right? Just leave
Oh,
the
so
old wrench.
insert it after?
Yeah, just insert it afterwards. It's fine. So let's
Alright.
just go. So we want to go to okay. So you have to go to this icon right here. What did you just do, Silver?
I hit derived.
Oh, the derived part was already on your thing. Okay. Sometimes derived part isn't on your.
Yeah,
your-
you selected
top thing.
sheet metal model. The derived part is
Oh,
right
I
here.
did the wrong one. Yeah, sometimes you have to like do like a menu down, and it will show you this icon is show them the icon is derived part is this icon here, that icon, but it isn't always on this larger screen. It sometimes is hidden in submenus, is what I was trying to get to. And so if you can't find it because of your screen attributes or whatever, you may have to like hit the down arrow to make that happen. Okay. All right. So now you're going to install the 19. Yes, 19. And now in order to move it, right, Noah, why don't you, Silver, why don't you walk through how to move it slowly? Okay.
So first we have to select the transform option, which is up here.
Right. Okay, good.
And then we have to select an entity to transform, in this case, the stubby 19.
All right.
And then we want to transform by mate connectors. in
Transform
our
by mate
case.
connectors. Yeah, transform by mate connectors is kind of the least difficult way of moving complex ways inside of Onshape. So yeah, so basically a mate connector, you can choose that circle, right? That's good. And then you could just choose one of the other circles on the other side. Just move it directly to wherever that one is. So you're gonna set it up with that wrench. Good. All right. We don't really care too much about, you know, the orientations. It's fine. All right. So let's hack and slash.
It's
And
gonna
now,
bug me out, so I'm gonna flip it.
okay. You have to move it forward then also. I think we wanted it move it. We'll translate it later. Right now, let's just hack off the wrenches. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, you're
There.
okay. So now we've got it. All right. So Noah, now could you please take the wheel? And do you want to drive, or do you want to? Are you okay with driving yourself? Do you want to share your screen, Noah, or do you want to just be the traffic cop telling Silver what he should do next?
Either is fine with me.
Why don't you drive? Okay. Why don't you share? Start sharing. So Silver, you have to stop sharing.
Want me to start sharing my
Then
screen?
you have, yeah, then you should start sharing, Noah, and then we'll
Just, we're gonna hack and slash off that thing. You can just open that link from the same thing that I had sent. Okay, so walk us through what it is you're gonna be doing here, because we want to have basically stubby wrenches here.
What am I doing exactly? Uh,
We want to cut these off here, basically. So how can we do that?
Like right here, on that line.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, there's nothing particularly magic about those, that spot, but something, you know, somewhere there, I don't know. I mean, let's see what it looks like and we'll go from there. So what, how do you propose that we actually cut these off in CAD?
Probably just using a sketch and extrusion
Okay.
to cut it.
All right, so let's see. So what surface are you going to use as your sketch surface? Okay, so you've chosen the top. Can you zoom out for us here? Okay, so now that's good. Now you can see what we're going to try to grab. Okay, so what are you going to do next?
I'm going to take a rectangle starting around here. Just
Okay.
create a box.
Yep. So we don't really need this to be like super well defined, other than I would like it to be well defined. This edge up here to be well defined. The other ones, I don't really care if there's blue on the sketch. So how did you decide? What did you end up doing?
I just like
You made
kept
those
it
two
along
lines.
this line. Yeah,
So was that an inferred thing, or did you deliberately do that? Did you just, it just happened as you drew it?
I think it was, yeah.
Why don't you show constraints here? Put those on here, show constraints. So see the line in blue there? The one in blue means there's something external that it's linking to outside of this sketch, right? So if you were to delete that one, go ahead and delete that one. Let's do it by right click, delete. I think there's a delete sketch item. Where did it go?
You have to escape the rectangle first.
Ah, okay. Delete sketch entity. Yes, good. Okay, so now that thing is blue again. Why don't, instead of that, why don't we give it a dimension down from like something like the center of that sketch, you know, something, not the center of the sketch, from the axle, you know what I'm saying? So if we wanted to know, so how can we get a hold of the axle? I'll show you, there's some cool ways that we can do this. If you were to zoom out a little bit more and tilt it a little bit, so we can see it. Okay, good. Now, if you were to grab like one of these full circles right here, right? And then choose use, the use button right here. Okay, good. So that one, that just put into our sketch, it's right there. So now the center of that line is going to be the center of our axle. So, but it doesn't actually, you can't dimension to the center of a line. So we're gonna have to draw a line. So let's draw a line here. That's a construction line, and go from the center of that line out here like that. So as you push the line, you'll be able to see when you touch the middle of the line. Actually, if you can't get it to work, you can just draw a line anywhere in space and we can fix it later. So why don't you just draw that?
Do I need to select the line tool?
Oh, wait, somehow we got to get out of the use mode, and then you select the line tool. Yes. And then as you walk along, you see now you're in the midpoint. You see it's assuming this line here. You see that? So now you can then drag it kind of 90 degrees to there. And then go sideways, go there. That's good. And then see how it's assuming 90 degrees? Perfect, do that.
Good. And then just drop it. All right. And now just get out of the mode. And now you'll be able to use your dimension tool, and you can just dimension from there to there. Yep. And then drop it. And I don't know, what does it look like? Sure. Why don't we make it, I don't know, 0.8 inches. Okay. And then let's do an extrude, and you can either exit the sketch and then choose extrude, or if you just, it's smart enough to know that if you just choose extrude to begin with, you'll be able to go right into it. So, and then I would choose through all and remove. And the scope, we might as well hack on both wrenches at the same time. So you're in the choose in this mode. You could either come over here to the model tree and choose the two parts, or you could click on them.
Which two parts? Is it?
The two wrenches. No, yeah, there's where did the other wrench go? No, that's a different wrench. Sorry, different wrench. The part that we ended up, the composite parts. Oh, composite parts. You have to like click here. There we go. Click on those two. 1, 2. Is it not letting us whack them? Does anybody know why we can't choose those as our merge scope?
Composite parts might be weird. Let me see.
I've never had a problem with this, so I don't know what the issue is.
One second, I'm giving it a shot.
What if you just try and click on the parts instead of the model tree? What if you click on them out here? Does it work? Click. That's wacky. It lets you click on them out here, but it doesn't let you click on them in the model tree.
Oh, yeah, I think it's because it's like a nested part or something. Like composite parts carry with them hidden parts.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So so that looks good. And then I would say through all symmetric. See what happens. There it is. Oh, that's such a much better part. So that's the part we're going to try to fit in. Actually, we don't really care about the second part. We only are about the smaller one. We're only going to try and do it on the bigger one. So let's turn the part that we're the extra part, the tensioner, the wrench tensioner one back on. So this is what we're trying to fit in there. It looks like we don't really quite have enough room. Can you turn the let's turn the spool back on so we can kind of see where we're at. So so what we're trying to do is roll string in on this. Can you imagine from that side, like if you do like a somebody's typing like mad, can you mute?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So can you do a view from the left? Choose a view from the left. So we're going to try to wind string in here, right? So string is going to come in, and we need to have enough room for it to kind of wind all the way around this guy. So I don't want to go too much, you know, I don't want to go too much further in. So can you flip around to the left, to the right side instead? So it just looks like we're gonna maybe have to take and whack our like we won't need looks like we missed the hex, but we don't miss the nut. So we're gonna kind of need to have this nut disappear here. Right? So not the nut, but the screw. So why don't we just hack and slash that to disappear as well? So the spool, is the spool a derived part, or is it in here as a real part? This is it's the real part. Yeah, let's do it. we're, we can always, make this disappear. We can always make all of our work disappear here. So, yeah. So what I'd like to do now, is, Grant, why don't you drive for a little bit and and we want to make this guy disappear on just this side. So what are you thinking about how we're going to get that to disappear? Oh, you have to stop sharing. Sorry. Why don't you stop sharing? Yep. Then, Grant, you take over.
I need to hop in the meeting with the other computer real quick.
Why is it that you always need to be in twice? There's always,
It's
you're so hard
this
to get
computer
along with.
doesn't, it can't do Onshape in Zoom at the same time.
Ah, okay.
It's yeah, network isn't good on it, I guess.
Okay. Owen, I have we've been neglecting you. Are you CAD friendly yet, or are you can you drive at all?
So not yet, because I haven't really like experimented with the like software yet.
Okay.
And this is my first meeting and I'm not really like on it yet.
Okay, so welcome. You should there's some videos linked in the channel about how to get an account, so you should follow those. So
Yeah.
anyway, cool. All right. Yeah, so all right, so we're going to be picking on Grant now. So Grant, you're up next. How long is
Hey,
it? Oh, yeah.
I gotta drop off early. I'll
Okay.
catch you guys some other time.
All right,
Good
Ben,
night.
thanks a lot. I
See ya.
really appreciate your deep knowledge of Onshape
I'm happy to help.
difficulties. Yep.
See ya.
See ya. All right, so what do you walk us through what your thinking is if we want to just make that guy go away?
Here of the thread.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would say make a sketch on there and then blow out a circle to the diameter that we wanted to go to, and then just extrude out to this face.
Okay, so let's do that. So first thing, we pick the sketch plane. So we could make this be as big as we wanted it to do. We could just make a giant circle, right? We could use the largest thing if we wanted. We could use bodies from the other parts if we wanted to.
Why are they not highlighting?
I don't know. You're in the face of a drive. Wait, we're in the face of a drive part. Huh. Oh, okay, that's right. We did, that part is, yeah, we're hacking on a part that's already been derived once before, but. Are you just not able to select anything?
Yeah, no. All right, I'm gonna refresh.
Okay. So this happens, basically, there's just, it isn't a perfect piece of software. You know, it's a little bit like rebooting your laptop. Sometimes you just have to kind of try something.
There it goes.
Yeah. So this could be as big as, you could make this thing be giant, because we can limit the, we're not going to blow away any other parts, because we're going to limit the scope of what we're going to end up doing. Oh, except, wait a minute, that's right. Hang on a minute. Can you hide the disk that we're going to be working with? Okay, yes, these have, so how far are we going to extrude that down? Well, let's just extrude it down to the to that plane for now, to this plane.
To this.
We might eventually make it be less, but for now, we'll probably fill in, long term, we're probably going to also hack and just fill in that swimming pool, and then carve out some circles for our hex, so, or for our spool. So okay, so yep, that's good. Cool. All right, So that's good. Now, I guess, should we fill in the, hang on, I gotta get into that every time I get a new meeting. So do we want to fill in this whole thing? I don't see any reason why we shouldn't, right?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, okay, so why don't we just go, go from this surface down there and just fill up the entire pool in there so that we can,
So we should use this too, right? So we don't
yeah,
fill that in.
we don't want to fill in the, we don't want to fill in the, yeah, you can't, that's a section, you can't, well, no, it isn't a section. Yeah. So one thing that it doesn't, that Onshape doesn't have that other ones is like a chain. It'd be really nice if you could like double click on it and tell it to be like, I want you to use this chain of all, there's only one set of edges that you could really make a chain with these on. And yet it makes you pick them all. Okay, and then click the use, and then so we've got the inside. And then why don't we choose the, I think you could probably use like the, yeah,
Probably
like
that.
use, yep, that one seems perfect. Yep, that's what I would say is a good one. In actual fact, you didn't have to, you could have just used a, and I would go to the surface, extrude all the way to a surface. Yeah, you didn't have to pick that hex. You could have just picked a circle, right? Because and made the circle be long enough because you were just, it's just going to extrude
right.
this stuff in between anyway.
Yep.
Okay. So cool. So now we have a place where we can put our, we're going to put our the hex going through, the inner spool, right? So what I would say we should do now is we should figure out how we're going to hold our hex in the part that you've blanked here, right? Because what we need to do, like, can you put the hex back? The thing we're going to carve away, the end cap. Yep. I think we call it wrench something.
Wrench tensioner. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So now there's a couple of things that I think we should do. I think we should make this hole here should actually be just as big as we need it to be in order to clear a hex, because we don't really want anything. It doesn't have to be any bigger than a, in fact, maybe it should be a hex hole. No, we don't want it to be a hex hole. We want to be able to rotate it. So we want it to be a hole that you can clear that hex with, right? So I would, instead of what we did before was we chose a particular circle when we made that hole. Let's go back and edit that hole, the making of this hole. So if you can click on that surface, and it'll tell you like what it was, what place on the model tree that it was made from. And then you can right click and you can edit that. Go and edit the sketch. No, that's not.
Oh,
no,
that
no.
was
I
before that.
It's the wrong
Or,
part.
sorry,
Yeah.
after. Yeah. Right here.
Yeah. So okay, so you gotta help us walk through what it is we're gonna make this. No, it's not even. It's the sketch. Zoom out for, get out of this. Go roll to the end, and now I think we're in the wrong spot here. So you want to know when we made this.
Oh, this.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you right click on that and you edit that, and that hole. If you were to highlight that circle, the inner circle that we chose as the extrusion hole, like it actually blank all the other parts, so all we see is the sketch. Like go to just get rid of all of the bodies. Okay, so that part there, if you turn on the constraints to look at it, right now you'll see that one is on a particular thing. We don't really want it on a particular thing, so we can get rid of that constraint. And then what I would do if I were you is let's draw a hex. Use this. Yep. Draw that hex. Draw it on that circle. Just drop it in place. No, don't drop it there. Just drop it there like this. Boom. and then make it to be a 6-sided and make it be a 1/2 inch. This is just for
Oh.
reference. We're not going to really do this. In fact, before we drew it, we probably should have made it use the for reference button, because now we have to go in and turn all 6 of those sides into reference holes. And then I would put a dimension between that and that. So I don't know, what do you think we should have? 20 thousandths? Want to make it 40 thousandths, a millimeter? I don't know. What do people, what's a good number? Somebody shout something out. Brad, how much clearance do we need to a hex hole, a hex shaft?
You know, I'm a big fan of 50 thousandths.
50 thousandths. All right. 0.05. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Now, something's wrong, and there's something. So how are we going to fix this? So walk us through how we're going to fix this.
Okay, so it's because this circle isn't constrained onto anything, it's just floating in space. So we're going to constrain it onto the origin. So these are all the constraints here. So I'm going to use the coincident. Then we're going to select the center of the circle and then the origin, and it's going to snap it right to it.
Okay. So so the reason that happened was when we never drew that circle. We just used it from another. We used this thing here, the use icon, from another sketch. And when we deleted the use, it said, well, I don't have any constraints on this circle anymore. There's nothing. I don't know where the center is. I don't know what radius it is. And so that's why that basically happened. So, all right. So that's actually the sketch, and let's see what we got. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Well, now you gotta show the part now. There. All right, so we're still peeking out a little bit, but I think we can, we can live with that.
Don't
What I
forget this
think-
gets bigger too when the broach goes through it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, we might need to use a different wrench when we really build this. Maybe we'll have to have a different wrench. But let's just
Oh,
assume
the
for
wrench.
now.
Yep.
So the wrench. So let's move the wrench up. So first of all, is this as fat as we need this thing? How it feels like this thing is maybe how fat did we make it? We just made it. We extruded it as fat as we. How thick is that? It's not too bad. A 1/2 inch isn't too terrible. So why don't we move the wrench so that it's flush with this side of that thing?
So it's flush with
With that, yes.
this face up here.
So I would say we want it on the outside here. We're gonna want to see so we can see it out here.
So like
You
over
see
here.
what I'm
So
saying?
yeah.
So that the surface that is the surface that has the lock unlock is sitting, right here. So there's like a lock unlock lever sitting kind of there.
Yep.
And maybe we want to turn it. I don't know. Let's look and see what it looks like. First of all, let's just translate it. So how are we going to translate it?
I use the transform.
Okay.
Then by make connector. Oh,
All right.
We can just do X, Y, Z, right?
Yes. So do we know how far we want to move it? So you're moving it in the Y, but it looks like it needs to go in the X based on what I'm seeing. Do you see when you're moving it X, Y, Z, you see these colors here?
Yep.
They correspond to these colors up here.
Oh, okay. Yep. I was looking for him over here somewhere. But...
Yeah. So we want to move it. Yeah. It looks like it needs to go out. It was I think it was 0.56 2, I think.
Oh, do we want to measure it first and then type in
Sure,
the,
why don't we measure it and then we can get the numbers, yep. So this is gonna be hard to actually to see both at the same time, but if you look down, right down the hole, you should be able to see it. I think you can see those two surfaces, yes. Yep, okay, what are we saying? What's the number?
it's 0.124213.
And hang on, you just did something that I saw that was new. You did copy something. How did you do that?
Yeah, so when you
So
have,
show us all. So that, so you, first of all, you're measuring something. All you have to do to
Yep.
measure something is just highlight 2 things and it tries to do the right measurement. Okay,
yep, and I wanted
it
the
tries to
parallel
display it.
distance.
Okay,
So that's
what
right
if you
there.
didn't want parallel distance? What if you wanted something else? What else could you do?
You can click on the tape measure and it gives you more details.
Things like max and min and a bunch of other things,
Yep.
angles, all kinds of things. All right, so go ahead and now what do you do now to, you copied it somehow, but I don't know how you did that.
Yep, click on the number and then
Yes.
right click and copy.
Ah, nice. Okay. All right. Very good. Learn something new. All right. So now that's how much we need to translate it, that distance. And now you can go back to that translate function.
Then the X is pointing that way, so it should be positive,
Yep.
right?
X is pointing that way. Yep. Very good. I almost always have to do this and then put the negative in, just saying. All right. So now let's look at it and see what happens. We might as well just get rid of the blue one. We're not really using that one. Okay. So let's see what it looks like in our, all right, is that the right orientation? I guess, would we want it to be like totally standing out? What if we turn that 90 degrees? Do you think it would still be inside of our?
Oh, there's a tail up there. I don't know. I might be. We can check it out.
So there's a rotate button. You can
I
choose.
can't do it all in the same step. So to rotate, selected the
Yep.
rotate axes, and then that's just a circle there because it's going to go about that circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can type in the amount of degrees I want to do. And because this is saying positive over here, I want to go the other way. So I'll do a -90.
Oh, that's kind of beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Could you see that, Grant? That you'd have like, imagine if we had a cutout that
Yeah.
was like, you know, like that kind of held it. And then I don't know how we'd keep it from moving yet. We'll solve that in a minute. But, you know, and then this wrench was sitting out. You could like, you could winch in more or less based on, yeah, that's actually pretty nice. Okay. All right. So now I would think I would like someone else to drive, Silver or Noah. What do you think? Because now let's take and munch out this hole here where the where that guy is, right? So let's take and do a munch out. So who's feeling like they want to drive? No one? Okay, I'll drive for a little bit. So, all right, so you gotta stop sharing. I need to start sharing. Start sharing. Okay, so here I am, right? And what I'd like to do is I want to take and munch out this whole thing. I'm going to, my browser decided that it needed to reboot, not reboot, but reload. Okay, so we're going to try to munch out this from this part. So here's what the thing is, as it turns out, all of the surfaces I want are on the orange part, but I'm going to be working on the gray part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a sketch on the gray part. But as soon as I'm in the sketch, I'm in the plane for the part I want, I'm going to go in and I'm going to actually turn off the part that I'm working on. So I can just use this one. It just feels so much less stressful to me to like not have to see the part that I'm like have to pick through and all that. All right, so here we go. We're going to, I'm going to, what I want to use here is an offset because I want to have my hole have a little bit of space. So I choose offset, right? And then what things do I want? Well, I think I want, well, I want that one, and I want that one, and I want this one, and I want this one, and I want that one. Okay, now do those two parts go together when looks like they did join okay. Sometimes like these aren't quite straight and then they won't be, you have to choose them as well. All right, and then this is a trick like, oh, sometimes you really wish that it had drawn them on the inside. You can drag them to get like positive numbers. You could have just hit enter and then put in a negative number, but why, if you know you're going to be going inboard, you can have it point the arrow the way you want it. So I want it out anyway, so I'm going to put that. I get it pointing the right direction. And I don't know, I feel like this is a snug fit. I'm going to make it maybe 5/1000ths of an inch. Not nothing, but you know, not letting it slip around too much. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to, part of me wants to close off this here with just a straight line. But if I did that, then it's going to leave this little sliver here, and I don't want to leave that sliver there. So I have a couple of things that we could do. I could extend the lines up over, but for me, the easiest thing to do is to turn that guy back on, go to the use button here, grab that line, grab the scissors, cut that out, and now I can go back, turn that guy back off again. Well, no, I don't need to turn him off. Well, yes, I do. I do want to turn him off because I turned the wrong one off. Okay. I want to extrude down to that part. So now I'm going to hit extrude, and I'm going to extrude up to a face. The face is going to be this back edge here. And I need to remove, and then it asks me for merge scope. I could turn it back on, but I could also just pick it right from the plane that I want. And I think that is going to be enough. Click OK, turn it back on again, and we've got this beautiful little, little pocket for this guy. Later on, I don't recommend we do it yet, but long term, I'm just going to show you guys and then I'll turn it back off. There's a way of doing these arrays, and I can do an array. I'm going to do a circular array, and I don't want a part array. I want to do a feature array, and the axis, I'll choose that circle or that cylinder. 360, I'll do 4 of them, why not? And then, oh, I haven't chosen the extrude yet. So I now go back up to choose the features I want to do that. I choose the extrude and I click OK. And now I've got 4 of those guys just waiting for me to do this thing. However, I'm not going to do that right now. I'll save that for later. Because, for instance, we're going to need some holes going through this, and we're going to need some other things going through there. So by moving the by rolling the model back, I can then put a hole in here. For instance, like let me just do that right now. So now I'm nervous about this dumb thing. I don't want that in my way. So I'm turning him off. Can I just hit Y? I think I can just hit Y. I put my marker on him. I hit Y. He disappears. I hit Shift Y, and the things that are in that place come back. You see, that's a super useful. I can make things Shift Y, bringing them back. Right, if my mouse is just over where they belong, right? Y, gone. If I want the orange one to come back, see, there's no part. This one, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to come back if I hit Shift Y here, right? Because it could have been any of them. But if I go up here, I know it's going to be the orange. Oh, no, I didn't know it was going to be the orange one. Oh, I should have. I'm hitting Y. All right. If I hit Shift Y here, what is going on? I've got the cap locks on. All right, it was doing the opposite of what I was thinking. If I hit Shift Y, then the part comes back. Anyway, it's a super useful thing. So I'm going to make that guy Y go away. And now I want to do a hole. Somebody tell me what I should do if I wanted a hole, you know, for my 3/8 inch hex. What should I do? The first thing you almost always need to do is a sketch. Okay, so I'm going to choose the sketch. I'm going to pick a surface. I can go here. I can just draw the thing any old place. And then I can tell it that I want two things concentric. I want that one and that one to be concentric. And then I want to bring back that thunder hex part, because what I'd like to do is to use, I want that to be a little bit of a gap with respect to that guy. So I can dimension from that part if I want to. I can say from that point to that point. Brad says he likes 50 thousandths. He must be right. 50 thousandths. All right. We click OK. I get out of the drawing mode. I then do an extrude. I should probably just do an extrude through both parts now because, well, no, I won't do an extrude through both. I'll just do an extrude through my one part. I'm going to do an extrude. I'm going to remove. I'm going to do through all. The scope is this guy. I click OK. All right. And now if you notice, if I roll my model to the end, he didn't like it. Edit. It can't figure it out because of the hole confused it. But if I add that to my feature pattern, it will be perfectly okay, I think. Yes. Now it's okay. So now I've got 4 holes through this guy. The difficulty, the thing I need to do now is I need to give room for my room for the thread to come in. So for all of the thread. So I'm going to hide the tensioner. Hide. And so now we need to like give ourselves room in here for string. So this one here, I guess we should make as big of a hole as we can stand. All right, so somebody else is going to have to drive. I'm stopping sharing. Noah, you want to drive?
I can.
So what I think we want to do here is we want to, I think we want to put a hole in here that's going to be for the string that we're putting in. So how should we do that? Walk us through it. Use words as you're doing it.
First, let's create a sketch on this plane.
Mm-hmm. Is it not selecting? Yeah, it did select that. Okay, so now what do you do now that you've selected the plane?
What, like,
So we
how do
want,
you
I think
want
we
the
want, I think
hole?
we want a circular hole somewhere in there.
We want it like
So
around that.
yes, but I think what I would rather, so let's just draw the hole in space to start with. Just draw it anywhere. Just pick and put it anywhere. Okay, now let's turn on the part that we put the hole in, the mating part. Turn him back on. And now make those holes concentric. Good. All right, then turn that guy back off because you don't want me nervous. Okay, so now what we need to do is dimension the hole. I don't know exactly how big it should be because I can't quite see in this sketch. Like how much room we need, I guess. Is that surface right there, the top of the, yeah, that's the top. So, you know, I don't mind cutting into that. I don't mind cutting into this wedge thing, but yeah, why don't we just put a dimension on it, and when we will kind of like feel how good it feels when we're done. So just put a dimension, click, drag, drop. So it looks like, you know, I don't know, maybe why don't we try 0.75? I don't know. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, zoom out. Doesn't quite look big enough. I mean, I think I want it to be at least tangent with that guy, right? Don't we want it to be at least that big? So maybe go 1. What do you think? 1 is probably too big, but let's see. You can just right click and edit it. Right click. Sketch length added. I don't know what that did. Can you undo that? Control Z. Oh, you added a reference dimension, I think. I don't know. Actually, hit Control Z again until make this guy disappear. Just keep doing it. There we go. Okay, so now edit that guy and just make it. Yeah, I don't know. Let's make it 0.875. If you just double click on it, you can just type in the word. Yep, 0.7. Make it 0.875. 7/8. Enter. I don't know. That feels pretty good, right? That feels like it's getting. You know, the string has room to get in there, right? It looks like we'd have enough room to wind things in. Okay, let's do that. All right. I don't know how deep to make this hole. Why don't we, just start, it's going to be a hole. So how do we have to hit remove, merge scope. You have to pick that. Yep. Let's click there. Is it not letting you click it? Why isn't it letting you? There we go. Good. All right. All right. I don't know. I feel like that's about right, but to be honest, one of the things that we didn't quite do right is we didn't quite fill the so yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to build this part to begin with. So we probably want to have another do we want all of them on one side? So Grant, if you imagine using this and we had, would we want to have, well, we can't have any on the other side. There's enough room to put our ratchet on the other side. So if we wanted to have 4 screws in here or 4, if we wanted to have 4 ratchets, they'd all have to be coming out of the same side.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for like the box too, or like in this case, where like the inside is just so scented down, you can't really get in there as easily as like the outside. So I think that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So we would have kind of 4 wrenches sitting up. We'd have to, I don't know how we're going to hold this. The bearing structure for this is still a little bit goofy too on the box, but on this, we could just, everything is fine, I guess. Yeah. So, okay. Do we need, we need something that's going to hold the other side of this bearing. Do we want to put like a hex bearing in the bottom of it? Like a Versa hex bearing?
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
You can use the small thunder hex bearings that used in the turret, maybe the small ones.
yes, okay, so, we need to get Noah the add-in for, the MK CAD. Does somebody know how to do that?
Should just be App Store, right?
Yeah, it's in the App Store.
Okay, somebody walk him through, so. What has to happen here? Is this,
Yeah,
does it take a
click
long
App
time?
Store.
I don't think it takes a very long
It
time,
doesn't
right?
take very long.
Yeah.
And then go to search and just type MK CAD.
Probably all is one, I think.
There you go. And hit subscribe. Yep. There you go.
All right, so
Now
now
you
you
should
should
be able
have,
to go back to
you
it
should
and
have
then
that
hit
icon
refresh.
in the, yeah.
You have to
yeah,
refresh
the-
the page.
I finish the extrusion first before I refresh.
Oh, yes, yes, finish the extrusion, yes. So that seems fine. That'll be good for now. We're probably gonna have to put in a different hole in the bottom for this. We'll see. I'm not sure what the bearing is gonna look like yet. So that's why we need the MK CAD. Beautiful. So somebody walk him through finding the hex, the thunder hex bearing that we want. So thunder hex is a vex thing. So you have to remember that, you could just type thunder hex. Okay, good. And we want to look at bearings. And we want the 3/8. We don't need it flanged, do we? No, we don't want it flanged. We want just the 3/8 thunder hex. Do we need it bushing or bronze? What do you, I mean, this one here, this isn't like a high, it's a high load thing, but it isn't a high, like, we don't need this to be super efficient, right? Which one do you think, Grant?
I mean, I just go with the one very top, probably.
You'd go with that
If
one?
you scroll all the way up.
You'd go with the flanged one.
Oh, you want the,
Well,
They
let's
all
look
look
at that.
they all look
Let's
flanged.
bring that one in.
Yeah.
Let's bring
Yeah,
that one in, because,
there's no radial thunder hex 3/8.
okay. So, yep, let's look into that, see what the OD looks, the OD is 0.75. Oh, what's the OD when you end up with the flange? You know, the OD when you include the, where did it go? Is
it's
it
in
showing up?
the, it's in the middle of the part.
Okay, so you can turn off the MK CAD bit now. You can make that go to the right and just click on the MK CAD again in the, right down here. Yep, and it disappears. And so like,
that's
let's,
a quick lesson there. When you use MKCAD, all parts go to the origin. So always check your origin when you're
Yeah.
importing parts.
so here, just click on that. Let's find out what the OD here is. Click on what that right there. There, just click. Okay, so it's, let's make it 1. Let's make the whole 1, because I think that we could be able to put that thing in the bottom.
Was it this extrusion?
Yes, but you have to edit the sketch, not the extrusion. Edit sketch. Yep, exactly. And just change double click 1. Beautiful. Okay. How thin is that wall getting up in there? Does it look like we'd be able to survive that? I mean, yeah, probably it's fine. Is it 50 thousandths? Let's find out what the distance is. So you can just highlight this surface and then highlight this surface.
Which two?
Get the surface. Yep, get that surface, the barrel, that surface there, click. And then click on that surface there. Yep, click. Okay, and it's saying parallel axis distance. That's the center distance, which we already set at 0.75. That was when we did that, but we want the minimum distance. Well, Brad said it was 50 thousandths was enough, and this is 63 thousandths. It's clearly enough.
You have room to play.
Yes, we have room. So, all right, perfect. So now I guess what we want to do is we want to blow a hole in the bottom of this. That's the size for our bearing. That's the 0.875.
Oh,
And then we'll,
sorry. You can see look at the hex shaft.
yes. What about the hex?
The 1 inch circle is going into the hex shaft in the middle.
Oh, in the middle. That's no good. I don't like that. Okay, so how about let's try the bronze one instead and see if it maybe is smaller. You guys, you understand what I mean? Let's go into the hex shaft. Go to the MK CAD, right? Go to hex Thunder Hex. Take that guy. Oh yeah, it is smaller. It's beautiful. Yes.
I was gonna say, if you want to stay with bearings over bushings, you can go just 3/8. And then you can get
Yeah,
back
but
to
we don't really need,
non-flange.
yeah, that's fine, but we don't really need, this is not something that's it's a high load, but it isn't a high, like a high wear surface. This
Yeah.
is something we're gonna
Yep.
use very rarely, but when we want it. So anyway, let's delete the bearing that we first did. Yep, seems good. Yep. And let's let's go back to our 0.875 for this hole, and then we'll put the right size hole, you know, in so make this hole the 0.875, which we liked. And then yes, that's good. And then now let's put a hole that's that size, boom, in there. So what size is that hat? Just highlight that, just highlight that, it'll tell you. 0.625. Okay, so cool. So let's put a 0.625 hole in the bottom of that guy. Can you do a hole without a sketch? Because we could use the hole wizard here, but I think you'd need to make a sketch anyway. Is that true, guys?
If you have any point, as long as you have a point.
Yeah, but there's no point there. It doesn't automatically use the center of a circle or anything, does it? Right? You couldn't like pick the center of a circle unless it already exists. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Just so okay. So what are we doing? Walk us through, Noah.
I'm just creating the
Yep.
circle.
Okay.
I'm going to make it concentric. This circle, the whole,
Good. And,
and I'm going to dimension it so that it's the correct size.
yep. All right. So now why don't you, while you're here, why don't we move it into the right? Oh, wait, first we have to extrude the hole first of all. Just go remove and hit through all. It's fine for now. You have to pick the scope. Okay, that's fine. I mean, you can't really see it with the other piece in there, but that's good. Okay, so now we want to use this move tool here. So, okay, what is it we want to choose by mate connector exactly? Pick by mate connector. And then now we have to pick the two mate connectors, the from first. So the from should be the part itself. And you'll want to pick the underside of the flange. You have to go like underside. Get way underneath there. Keep going, turn, yeah, rotate. There you go. Get that. Yeah, get that guy right in there.
Okay, good. And, oh, did we get it? Yes, we did get it. Okay, and then you want to get the whole, yep, that's good, exactly. Yep, nice. Okay. And transform
Right,
entity,
select.
that guy? Yep, that guy, right? Exactly right. And we don't want to copy the part. We want to, yeah, just move the part in this case. Yep. And then, oh, it didn't quite come out the right way. So you need to edit that transform. And you want to flip it, I think. Unless my eyes were turned inside out. Were my eyes turned inside out? Is it in the right spot already or not? I can't really tell. That's the way we want it there. We want it like that, right? Okay. All right. So I think, it's been a long 2-hour meeting. I think, why don't we end by making a new version? So here, let's make a new version here. And just put like a dash at the end of this dash, and then say like Ratchet interpolating, or at Ratchet, what are we? Ratchet tensioners. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then click go create, and now we've got it. Clear. Anybody got questions? Feedback on like having these meetings be more like this? I'd like to get more people up to speed, and I'd like to be actually doing real CAD. I think longer term, what we could end up doing is we could have kind of a plan for what we're trying to do, that more people, it's just, why is it taking so long to think? Okay. And then I think we could have multiple people working on things at the same time. So we could have some people work, like, let's imagine we went back to, where some people could be starting to work on the redirect pulleys, and other people could be working on the cap while another person's working on the body. And we could have multiple people working on things and pulling things together. So that's what I'm hoping we could maybe do on these Thursday night meetings or Tuesday night meetings. Whereas, and if there's somebody that's new, maybe, I could start working with them while the other, people cut in when they need to. Anyway, that's my thought process, is that we could maybe spend Thursday or Tuesday nights working on actual things we want to work on. And meanwhile, we're learning like new things along the way. So I don't know. That's my thought. What do other people think?
I like that. I also think we can maybe use the breakout rooms to kind of help
Yeah.
organize people
Yeah.
into the right spots. And
Yeah, that sounds good. Actually, a breakout room, I didn't even think about that. So, all right, I'm going to hit the stop on the record. I have to get out of, you have to stop sharing, I think. And then I'm going to hit stop on record. Where did it go? I can't see the record button. Ah, there it is.